Hello guys and welcome to the ESL Premiership here at MCM. I am Sona and we are into picks and bans here between Choke Gaming and Rift as well. We see Choke already banning out the Sejuani against Dandychap, Gragas being banned out as well. Excoundrel, these are really common bans that we see in this meta. Do you think we're going to see any unusual bans?
Well, I mean, it really depends if they want to ban out Fiddlesticks against Dandychap. I think that's probably the most unusual ban that you're likely to see. But Sejuani and Gragas, in the current meta, they are must bans right now. They are very, very solid. Janna coming out against Rafa. Now, Rafa does place a really, really good Janna. Also kind of spells out potentially the kind of composition that Choke are going to want to be running.
Yeah, banning out that Janna just means that Nizar doesn't have that peel that you usually like to have him getting, because he plays that Jinx so well, so strong, and he's actually going to be banned out against him as well. So we really focusing that bot lane.
We said this in the group stages. Me and you talked about it a lot. They had to ban Jinx against Rift and Nizar, and now that's probably one of his best champions out the window, severely hurting Rift's chances of being able to take this. But I haven't seen Rift play since the group stages. They have had a lot of time to prepare, even though my predictions on the desk were Choke 2-0, and that's probably what most people would say is likely. Rift definitely have the potential, but Max Law getting one of his best junglers, Rek'Sai, straight over to him.
Rek'Sai is really, really strong and has been for a while. I'd probably put him at like a tier 0.5, so he's not the Sejuani or the Gragas. He's not quite that strong, but Rek'Sai of course is a woman. She is really strong in the jungle, and the Xerath ban against DX Alchemist as well. So there are a few target bans coming out here at Excoundrel.
I just want to pull out that in the group stages on stream when I said that Rek'Sai was a man.
I corrected myself. Okay, it's fine. Rek'Sai is a woman. Thresh being hovered over here for the side of Rift. Now, Rift are of course known as Divine Esports in the group stages. In case anyone has been following them along, they are now Rift Gaming.
They were Verge in between.
Oh, they were Verge in between as well. So they've gone through a few iterations, but now settling under that Rift name, it looks like they're going to lock in this Thresh. Other picks available here, there's quite a few strong champions still left. LeBlanc, in particular, is someone we see a lot in professional play, quite often picked up first, but Imbolite doesn't tend to play that sort of champion.
No, it's going to be Vi being locked in here for Dandychap, so I would expect maybe a Sivir composition coming out from Rift with the Vi already being locked in. That's so strong.
The problem is Choke have the option of picking up Sivir here. They could sort of counteract that Vi by getting that spell shield on your AD carry, getting that protection, and Morgana's still free as well.
Well, the thing is with when you pick a Vi and you have a Sivir in the group, often you go Nautilus or Thresh. So this is kind of spelling out that they want that kind of heavy engage comp with the Sivir, consistently looking to re-engage with the Sivir ultimate, making sure that they dictate the pace of the game. Choke now have some decisions to make, because obviously Xerath being banned against DX, now we saw that a lot previously, but DX ended up playing no Xerath, even when it was open, so he's kind of strayed away from that champion.
It's something that happens often, especially in a small scene like the UK scene, which is rapidly getting bigger. We see champions being banned out specifically against certain players, and then they stop playing them just because they're banned out so often.
Now this is a champion pickup that would go against the Sivir composition quite well. If you pick an Urgot, we're actually seeing him back into the AD carry position now, less in that mid lane role. Obviously, Alchemist could have the option to take that into the mid lane, but we are seeing him more and more in that AD carry position.
We tend to see Chudok play sort of more Callisto or Lucian-based AD carries, a bit more mobility. So if he does lock in the Urgot, as you said, we haven't really seen a lot in the last month or so of the UK scene because there haven't been many tournaments going on since the ESL group stages. Now, it's going to be really interesting. What do you think we're seeing thus far in this pick and ban stage?
Well, right now, there's potentially Protect the Cogmore composition going on here, so it's going completely against what I thought would be locked in. With the Lulu and the Cogmore basically straight up spelling Protect the Cogmore. Now, whether that's Keys taking Lulu in top lane and then we're going to have something more defensive in mid lane like an Orianna, or in fact, like we've seen Faker and Korean guys pick up Lulu in the mid lane and then Protect the Cogmore composition, and then going for a fairly beefy, tanky top lane like Maokai.
Maokai is still available.
Yeah, Maokai is still available, and obviously that provides AoE protection of damage, 20% reduction in damage if you're inside Maokai's ultimate circle.
I think that works really well with the Vi pickup on Dandychap as well. Dandychap, a very aggressive jungler. You said he likes his Fiddlesticks. He's very good at using those ultimates to break up team fights or position himself in team fights. So if you have that front end damage from the Vi just because she has a lot of damage passively, Maokai to keep that tankiness on, and then Cogmore wailing away on the back line, that could be a very strong team comp. You said it's a little bit of a Protect the Cogmore team. Usually we see a Janna being picked up in that, but of course banned out here by Choke.
Yeah, and also the thing is now for Choke, they've got to think about how they want to adapt the playstyle of their current composition, because Assassins against the Protect the Cogmore comp don't work as well unless you get really far ahead, and that is going to be Dix, Alchemist on Lux.
He used to main it.
Yeah,
he used to be his main champion.
It's always been a pocket pick for him. It's always something that he's brought out, and it does pretty well against something like a Protect the Cogma when you're just looking to get as much AoE damage down as possible. You have the catch potential as well. Now, catch against Protect the Cogma is really, really powerful because if you catch someone out, especially a Lulu, and you force her to use her ultimate on herself or force her to use her ultimate on someone that isn't Cogma, you can then start to dictate teamfights because you can then focus all of your resources onto killing the Cogma, knowing that he has very little in terms of protection. We're looking for this last pick.
It's not going to be a Mordekaiser.
It's not going to be a Mordekaiser.
It's not going to be a Mordekaiser. It would be a top lane Mord if it was, but it's not. It's going to be a Maokai. It's going to be someone tanky picked up in that top lane. The other option is you go full out damage, perhaps pick up an Aurelia and go for that full on the back line, but Vlad makes a lot of sense. He's tanky. He has a lot of damage as well if you build towards that Rylai's and the
I would actually be more expecting to see Vlad in the mid lane here, and then you're
and a Lulu top.
And then Lulu top, because Imberlight has been playing a fair amount of Vlad, and with the lock-in of the Ghost on his summoner spells, it spells a Vladimir mid lane. And that means Keys can then be more of a split push threat with the Lulu. Now, the problem is with Lulu, especially when you're going up against someone like Gnar, if Numlock gets ahead on Gnar, and we know he's really good at that champion, if Numlock gets ahead against a Lulu, there's very little she can do to protect him from split pushing. Lulu is not the best, apart from the wave clear, when she's trying to defend a heavy split pusher. I know from experience, if a Gnar gets ahead, and you're a Lulu, you actually just can't duel him at all.
The protection for Chewed Up on this Urgot is really strong coming out here from Choke. They've got the Prismatic Barrier from Lux, they've got the Spell Shield from Zodiac on that Morgana, and then Chewed Up will have his passive shield as well that he can use, which scales off mana. It's really, really strong if that Vi does jump on it.
Now, the interesting thing about the Urgot pick here, and this is just because of the way that the Protect the Cogmore composition works, Cogmore is your front line. He's supposed to be your front line.
Well, that's the Juggermore comp.
That's the Juggermore. This is a Protect the Cogmore. Basically, you know, he's going to be moderately towards that front line with the Lulu ultimate. They haven't got as much protection for him. They haven't got a protecting jungler. They haven't got an Orianna. But Cogmore usually wants to be up in the front so that he's getting all of those buffed on him. You get the Lulu speed buff, you get the Lulu ultimate, and then you have him kind of near that front, just doing as much damage as he physically can. There's actually multiple threats, though, from the Rift lineup, so they're not putting all of their eggs in one basket. Now, if Cogmore steps out of position and is in that front line, you can immediately get that Urgot ultimate onto him and just try and burst him down. It's going to require good coordination from Choke, though. And having something like a Gnar in your composition, when you're going up against one of these sort of heavy Protect the Cogmore compositions, if you manage to land a great ultimate, you can actually just completely try and AoE the team fight down before they have a chance to react.
Yeah, we are just waiting on the players to load into the Rift now. Should be up and about in just a second. We will see some action going down now. We haven't really talked about who we think is going to win this. You said a bit on the analyst desk, you think Choke's going to take it 2-0. You think they're probably the stronger team at the moment. Now that we've seen the team comps, what do you think about this?
I really like the Rift team comp, actually, from this picks and ban phase. I think they've actually come out ever so slightly on top. I realise I'm actually quite a bit far ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm catching up, I think, so we'll be caught up in just a second. You're going to have to watch the middle screen, because that's where we're looking from. So it's a defensive start from both these teams. It's what we expect at the level 1. Just because you don't see as much invading now that First Blood doesn't quite give as much XP, it's not quite as strong, and it's very difficult to get out of someone's jungle when they are able to use these trinkets to get a bit more vision around the area.
Yeah, but just go back to the compositions. I actually really like the Rift composition because they have two major threats. Vladimir and Cogmore both scale incredibly into the late game. Sometimes in a Cogmore composition, you tend to run something that's a little bit more utility-based and a little bit more defensive in that mid lane, like the Orianna. Now, Orianna obviously does scale very well. Oh, wow, Chewed Up walking very close to danger here.
Well, no, he's not, because we're a few seconds behind here, Excalibur, so let's make sure we're sitting on the right screen so that you are actually seeing what we're seeing. I think Chewed Up might go for a little bit of a dangerous invade here.
Well, he has been spotted out by a ward. I keep forgetting that I'm ever so slightly ahead, but he does just back off here, goes past that. He has been spied out. Nothing wanting to happen for the Rift team at this point in the game. Very defensive, like you said. They're just trying to make sure they get solid early starts. Both junglers starting on the top side this time round.
Yeah, it's what we tend to see from junglers. Like, they both want to get that first gank down in the bot lane. If you can get a Cogmore rolling, you can get him really strong early. Miss that mid game where he's a little bit weaker. Getting through his laning phase can be very strong. And then it's the same with an Urgot.
He's not even that weak in the mid game anymore, because once you pick up that Triforce, he actually becomes one of the best lane bullies in League of Legends, because he just consistently blocks that machine, has so many abilities to make it useful as well. And obviously ability power benefits him ever so slightly too. So once he gets that Triforce, even once he gets that Sheen, he actually becomes a real threat in lane. And he has one of the highest base health of any AD carry, I think.
Yeah. He is he needs to get quite close up in the early trades. You can pop that Bio-Arcane Barrage, his W, to get a little bit of extra range, but I expect to see him taking a little bit of a harass here from Zodiac and chewed up. Urgot very good at harassing in the lane, and he's gone for that longsword pots build as well, so he's going to have a little bit of extra mana. Rafa already taken down to half of his HP, and they will just back away. Zodiac putting as much pressure down as he can.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you just expect to see in these both lanes. Both AD carries trying to go toe-to-toe. Alchemist and Imberlite in the mid lane too, just farming up. I wouldn't expect anything crazy coming out from this mid lane because both of them are quite safe. Chewed up looking to go aggressive in the spot lane. Rafa already taken pretty low.
If the binding had hit Rafa there, he would have gone down.
Yeah,
like that's just it's a very good push by Choke. They get the early level 2. They're able to push Rift back towards their tower, and Rafa, if he had been caught out, would have gone down very quickly. They did still have the heal, but both of the supports running Ignite means that they're trying to be aggressive in this lane.
Now, Alchemist is playing this lane very well in the mid lane, attempting to get as many auto attacks off as possible, because obviously Imberlite is going to want to save his binding for when he's potentially going to pick up a kill. Sorry, and there we go, and a flash already out. Dandy Chap doing his best to go on to Alchemist. Oh no, Imberlite's going to want to save his pool for when a binding comes out from Lux. So he's basically going to want to make sure he doesn't get caught in lanes. So if he continuously uses that loose singularity and auto attacks, it's putting pressure onto Imberlite before he even uses the binding on Maxlaw.
Lots of damage onto Nizar. He needs to be careful. There's a binding available. Does still have the flash. He flashes the binding, but Rafa gets caught out. The Ignite goes down, and it looks like Rafa's going to be first blood here for Chewed Up. Choke Gaming taking the first kill of this match.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nizar and Rafa not quite on the same page there. Nizar flashes, Rafa unfortunately eats the binding, and no one there to react. And a good early gank coming out here from Maxlaw. Again, like you said, trying to put the pressure on the bot lane, knowing that if a Kog'Maw gets rolling, very difficult to stop. But I've got to give credit to Zodiac. What a great binding coming out from him, knowing that if Kog'Maw flashed, it probably would go through and bind onto Rafa.
Yeah, really well positioned because he waited with that binding. You can see him trying to anticipate the flash. Decided not to go for the flashy Mad Life binding to try and get it connecting at the end of the flash, but went for a diagonal one that would hit Rafa on the back line. Rafa, of course, did still have his flash, but with the Ignite with Maxlaw there as well, it was very difficult for him to escape. Yeah,
and obviously the Ignite on Zodiac, aggressive, trying to be as aggressive as they can with the Nerg. What they do is he is a lane bully, always has been a lane bully, and therefore, you know, it's paid off for them so far. And Maxlaw, very good on the map, very good presence, very good knowledge to know that he could make it through lane as the warding was kept timed of in that bot lane.
Yeah.
Great play by Choke so far, already starting to show their prowess in the Rift.
Chewed Up's already sitting on 1,000 gold as well. He's going to be able to get that Mana Moon built very, very quickly. And if you can get that upgrade and get that stacking up on an Urgot, you're a very difficult cookie to deal with. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him going for this first back relatively soon. Actually, it looks like he might just be backing after he pushes his wave, and he'll pick up a tier, build towards that Mana Moon, get that stack, and get ahead in this game, and be very difficult for Rift to get back into that bot lane. You said Kog'Maw's okay when he gets the Triforce, but at the moment, he's going to be so far behind his lane opponent.
Yeah, I mean, the CS is fairly even. It really depends on whether he can keep himself level at this point in time. Any more pressure coming down onto this bot lane, especially now that he's lost his flash, could be quite devastating for him. They're going to have to play defensively, and playing defensively against an Urgot is hard because he can just zone the lane so easily.
It's the Acid Hunter.
It's the Acid Hunter, yeah.
It's such long range. If you get that corrosive charge onto someone, you can hit them basically across the entirety of the bot lane as they're trying to run away. And as soon as you start getting chased by an Urgot, you're never going to get away. I think we just had a couple of issues with the tournament realm, so we're just getting that sorted out. We'll be back with you in just a second. Now, mid lane, Alchemist against Imber, like you said. Alchemist is playing the lane well. He did have to burn his flash in that gank coming out from Dandy Chap. Do you think we'll see Dandy Chap just hovering around the mid lane a lot more now?
I think shutting down Alchemist is a really good strategy against Choke, because Alchemist traditionally can play very, very safe in that mid lane and then starts to come to life in the mid-game skirmishes and mid-game team fights. And especially on a champion like Lux, it'll be a little bit more difficult for him to get an all-out 1v1 kill versus Imberlite, because, like you said, Imberlite can use that pull in the binding. He can use that pull when the ultimate comes out from Lux, when she fires that giant laser of hers.
Final Spark.
Yeah, Final Spark.
Finalis Funklin, or however you pronounce it in German.
Name, yeah. The Final Spark, obviously coming out from Lux, and he can use his pull for so many different utility variations on dodging the combos. He should be fairly safe. It will be the traditional DX Alchemist Lux that we see come into these mid-game team fights, just pick up kills left, right, and center. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Mejai's come out on Alchemist, because he does that quite a lot, and it usually pays off dividends for him.
Yeah, just waiting. There's a slight bug with the overlay, so hopefully we'll get that sorted in just a second. Apparently the game is still paused, although it's live on your screen, so we'll just be getting back in a second. Now, we didn't talk a lot about the top lane. Numlock's decided to go for a longsword and pots against a Doran's Ring pots on the side of Keys. Do you think that's going to be an interesting lane, or do you think it's just going to be a farm lane?
I mean, actually, both of these champions have the potential to kill each other. It just depends on how it's played. Now, Numlock's going to want to be going aggressive when he hits Mega Nav form, because actually Lulu will find it very difficult to deal with him if he gets locked up in the stun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Lulu can harass a decent level versus Numlock, and we're just seeing it very, very passive right now. I don't think either of these guys want to go toe-to-toe.
And the problem always is, as a Lulu, you have that wild growth which gives you the health, but Numlock's going to be hitting Mega time and time again in that lane anyway. So he'll be able to sustain himself up just by using that passive really nicely. We are back into game, guys, so let's get back onto the Rift. A 500 gold advantage for Choke off that first blood, and it is a tier double longsword picked up by Chewed Up, so he's building towards that man immune. As we said, if you can get him rolling, it's actually double Dormans on the side of Nizar. So he's decided this lane phase, he needs to try and get some advantages. Picked up a bit of extra health, picked up a bit of extra AD, but of course Dormans don't scale into anything in the same way that the items from Chewed Up are going to.
I think that's a smart choice coming out from Nizar. He knows that Urgot is going to want to be going for that tier fairly early on, so taking the double Dorans will give him a slight advantage, but because he had so much gold on Urgot, he's got a double longsword, so the actual amount of AD is equal. It's just that health advantage and lifesteal advantage that Nizar is going to have. He needs to try and take advantage of it, and I think Dandy Chap needs to do some work in his bot lane, because Chewed Up on Urgot, if he gets snowballing, will easily be able to shut down Nizar, especially once he picks up some key items.
One of the big problems for Rift there is that Choke didn't burn any of their summoners apart from that Ignite when they got the kill onto Rafa earlier, so they still have both the flashes available. They've still got the spell shield. They've still got Urgot, who's going to be relatively tanky with that spell capacity shield as well. It's a difficult lane to gank. They need to put pressure on it, but unless Dandy Champ can stay there for quite a while, they're not really going to be able to get much.
The interesting thing is that when you look at it across the board on this game, the only lane that is, I guess, attractive to gank is that bot lane, because obviously Alchemist is fairly safe in the mid lane. He's a Lux, as long as he doesn't overextend like crazy, which we're seeing him do a little bit now. He doesn't have that.
He hasn't got flash. He needs to be careful. There is a Hemo play for Imbolite as well.
But Dandy Chap needs to hit this.
Is he going to hit it? Oh no, he doesn't quite connect. He's not got the knockup. Hemo play comes down. He will take quite a bit of HP, but Alchemist escapes to safety once more. And meanwhile, we see Maxlaw setting up for this gank in the bot lane. There is a ward in that bush, but Nizar and Rafa deciding to be aggressive. The binding hits, and there is still a flash for Rafa though. There's the spell shoot. They're going to try and go onto Rafa. He does flash away. Teleport coming in behind them though, and Keys is going to join the fray. The hook onto Zodiac was wonderful. The Ignite goes down. The teleport was cancelled in the top lane. Numlock must have got onto Keys there and managed to stop that one coming down. So the teleport is burnt. It's on a shortened cooldown because it was cancelled, but nicely done there by Rift to turn that fight around.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean is that Imbolite in the mid lane doesn't have a lot of CC, so it relies on Dandy Chap hitting that Vault Breaker. And like you see, if he doesn't hit it, very hard to make the gank work out unless he's got his ultimate as well. And obviously, Dandy Chap being level 4 didn't have that ultimate to hand. So a little bit more difficult to gank that mid lane because Vladimir doesn't offer anything apart from flat damage when he's looking for a gank. And that top lane's quite safe as well. Both these top laners have either movement speed buffs or gap closers to allow them to escape fairly easily. So it's a fairly safe top lane in itself as well. This bot lane is the most attractive, and as I say that, Numlock's taking a lot of damage from Keys in this top lane.
Yeah, it looks like Rift are going to set up a 3-man onto the mid lane, though. There's still no flash on Alchemist. Here comes Rafa. They miss again on that Vault Breaker. Dandy Chap not having the best of time with those ganks after burning the early flash, and Alchemist just reading his opponent really, really well. Numlock's going to hit Mega. He jumps in. Keys needs to be careful. He flashes away, but he gets gnarred against the bush, and here comes Maxlaw. The wild growth actually stopped Maxlaw from being able to knocking up, but there's the boulder toss, and Keys needs to be careful. There's the knockup. I don't think he's going to get away. Lulu, you tasted purple, and Maxlaw will pick up the kill.
Yeah, Maxlaw 101 on Rek'Sai. He's so fantastic on that champion. Lots and lots of map pressure. Just out pressuring Dandy Chap in every aspect right now. Ganks happening in the bot lane, ganks happening in the mid lane, ganks happening in the top lane. He's been all over the shop, and that was a brilliant bit of play from Numlock as well. He was staying around on such low health, looking to get Mega now. I think if I were Keys, I would have been worried about that. There we go.
Caught. There's the corrosive charge. The acid hunters. Look at the range on that. Hook lands on Zodiac, but he's not the target. Nizar's going to go solo. He pops the heal. Can they bait Chewed Up in? Not quite enough. He survives on 150 HP, but he still has his heal. There's still an Ignite on Zodiac as well. Flash Ignite. Go on, Zodiac. Go on, do it. Do it. Decides against it.
They need to hit
it's less manly than I am.
Oh, another pause coming out here in the game. I think there's a problem with lag.
Hopefully we'll be able to sort it out. I mean, the thing there was, if Rafa had hit the hook onto Chewed Up, he's dead. Because he survived on 150 HP.
Yeah. So maybe going into a position of basically being able to be focused down by Assault and Battery and the Vladimir is a little bit more dangerous. I think they need to win to a position where that isn't going to be an issue for them. You know, if Chewed Up goes down, they still have the damage in Alchemist and the damage in Numlock to carry the team fights.
And we are back onto the Rift. Sorry about the little delay, guys. Hopefully it will be the last one we have. Choke Gaming look like they're rotating up towards this Dragon, but might just be getting some early vision. Chewed Up, quite low on HP, is going to back away, and he will be looking to pick up that Mana Moon on the Urgot, something we talked about quite a bit, the strength of that Urgot when he gets that first item. But it's going to stay around for a little bit because Max Law is coming in for a gank once more.
Yeah, and there's no vision here for the Rift guys in this bot lane, and Max Law just taking a roundabout way. There's the hyperkinetic.
Flash, hyperkinetic position reverse, and Nizar is well out of position. There's a binding available as well. Nizar goes down to Zodiac. They're going to turn on Rafa. Doesn't have enough mana for the Soul Shackles. Dandy Chap trying to position himself across towards the side. Could go in here. Decides against it because Max Law is still full HP, and he will just have to jump across the wall. But that's exactly what we said. There's no escape for Nizar if he gets caught out like that.
Yeah, and also Nizar tried to flash and move back around the Dragon Pit, which unfortunately was
Hello guys, and we are back. Sadly, we have just missed a tiny bit of action. Dandy Chap picking up a kill in the bottom lane. We saw Zodiac actually diving for a kill on Rafa, but Dandy Chap came round, popped down that Assault and Battery, and picked up a kill for himself. So it was a 1-for-1 trade, both the supports going down. I think Dandy Chap picking up that kill on the jungle Vi is actually pretty strong for him because it means that he's going to get scaling towards that power spike you get on Vi if you decide to go for that Warrior enchant. I expect a Cinder Hulk from him though.
Yep, I see the Hulk coming out from here.
Oh no, it got smoked. It got smoted.
It got smoked.
It got smitten. It was taken down there by Dandy Chap. He managed to keep the blue buff for himself. Of course, it doesn't matter that he used the smite because Imbolite wasn't going to take it anyway. So it's a little bit of a cooldown, but he's got that Rangers Trailblazer. We'll be back up in about 30 seconds or so. Anyway, 4-1 for Choke Gaming at the moment, and we are settling into this sort of start of the mid game here. The Mana Moon being completed on Chewed Up. He's also gone for that double longsword as well, so building towards a Brutalizer. Expect a Yumu's coming out from him, or even a Black Cleaver.
Yeah, I would expect the Black Cleaver, because that's more than likely what the Urgots tend to go these days. You get a little bit of health, you get cooldown reduction, you get the armor shred. Black Cleaver is essentially the better of the items to run with. Imbolite going to go for the very heavy cooldown reduction. Will of the Ancients probably into something like, well, a lot of Vladimirs used to go Warmogs, but I think maybe he'll be going for a more of a damage-oriented build. Maybe more like straight into flat AP, like Luden's Echo.
Luden's Echo is something we see on a lot of lands.
Yeah, it's very strong, very high burst, adds to the burst that he already has. And Alchemist is going to be the target of Dandy Chap's first ultimate. Nizar and Rafa making their way to the mid lane, but there is a reaction, another pause. experience, because he's got half the farm of Dandychap, because he's been across this map so much right now. Dandychap has had that time to farm up and just do his best, and he's got that little bit of almost two-level advantage. It has just been a level 8 hit by Maxwell, but Dandychap definitely getting the better in terms of farm and experience, but unfortunately sacrificing a lot of Choke Gaming's, or rather Rift Gaming's pressure across the map, and giving that all over to Choke because of the great play by Maxwell so far. Yeah,
Maxwell being involved in 5 of the 6 kills here for Choke. We do see Dandychap going to pick up that Scuttler. Dragon, of course, taken by Zodiac and Maxwell a few minutes ago, so not going to get vision over that, but we'll try and perhaps put some pressure down onto this bottom lane. The Brutalizer has been picked up by Chewed-Up, and these are still only sitting on that phage along with the dagger. I have to say, it's quite far behind, 40 CS as well in that lane now.
Yeah, and also Numlock hitting level 11. You're starting to see the point when should be able to quite easily duel Lulu in the top lane. Lulu going to stick around, has got that wild growth, so unless Maxwell comes in for the dive, they should be fairly easy to pick up a kill here. Obviously,
Mega Gnar is going to miss him.
Mega Gnar is not yet available and won't be available for a little bit, but Keys knows what's going on now.
Keys knows he's going to go down, pops the wild growth. Maxwell's going to tank up 2 tower shots to the Whimsy. Is it enough? Maxwell will tunnel away and escape, and Numlock jumps on her face and it gets the kill. Meanwhile, mid lane Indolite taking a little bit of pressure, pops out a pink ward. Not quite sure why he popped down a pink ward, but Dandychap's decided to come into the bot lane, trying to get onto Chewed-Up and Zodiac, but the social will be enough. The hook lands, but here comes Dandychap, going to knock onto Chewed-Up. There's the teleport coming in from Numlock, and the Void Rush from Maxwell. This is a great turnaround right here for Choke. The Soul Shackles lands on 2, Nizar goes down, the Narm into the wall. Rafa's going to go down as well. It's a snipe from long range, the final spark. Is that the final say here for Choke? They are 10-1 up in this game already.
Yeah, absolutely crushing all of these small skirmishes. Brilliant reactions by the Choke Gaming lineup. They managed to get every single member had an input in that bot lane engagement right there. Alchemist picked up a kill, vital to getting himself a little bit ahead, having that damage to control the mid-game skirmishes. Numlocked with a fantastic Gnar ultimate right there. He really did some serious work. And again, Maxwell, probably MVP so far, 5-0-4 on Rek'Sai, been involved in 90% of the kills that Choke Gaming have picked up.
Well, you talked a little bit about Infused FM being a fight of the junglers. At the moment, Maxwell is showing why he's one of the premier junglers in the UK scene. He's doing such good work, 90% kill participation, as you said. He's been all over the map. Yes, he lost out a little bit of experience advantage, but he just turned a fight single-handedly, well, along with the help of Numlock TPing in.
Alchemist doesn't have flash here.
He needs to be a little bit careful. The hook is going to land, and Dandychap coming in as well. Like low, but the Hemo play comes down. Alchemist is going to get taken out. Nicely done there by Rift to capitalize on the fact Alchemist didn't have his flash, and Maxwell wasn't quite there to help out his mid laner.
Again, this is one of the only other lanes apart from bot lane that is going to be easy to pick up a kill for Rift. Once there isn't a flash on Alchemist, he's a fairly immobile, fairly easy champion to exploit, and that happened there as he was getting greedy to push the waves up. Luckily hasn't gone for Energize. Oh, in this bot lane though.
It's a battle of the AD carries. Who's going to take it? It must be Chewed-Up. He pops the heal. Nizar not able to survive. Will Chewed-Up be able to keep himself alive? He flashes away, and he will survive through that 1v1 duel. It was close for a minute actually there. Nizar using the inherent damage in Cogmore, but even with the heal wasn't able to face up against Chewed-Up.
Yeah, he's actually gone for the Phage and looks like he's building towards, I would imagine, a Blade of the Ruined King here. So he's going through the recurve bow, which obviously now gives an additional amount of damage on hit. I believe it's 10 damage on hit, as well as the attack speed that it also provides. Numlock's doing his best.
Speaking of damage on hit, yeah, Dandychap's going to go very low. Numlock's going to jump across the wall. Dandychap tried to escape the flash away by Rafa. Flash across the wall as well by Dandychap. But Zodiac's going to chase, and here comes Maxwell once more. Soul Shackles onto Dandychap. He'll get taken out by the binding. And look at the top side of this. Rafa has got the wild guard on him. A nice lantern actually will get Keys off towards safety. The binding not quite connecting, but once again, Rift trying to be a little bit aggressive, trying to steal away that blue buff, and they pay for it with a kill.
Yeah, and that was basically solo zoning by Mega Gnar and Numlock. He's going for the Frozen Mallet, which is what a lot of Mega Gnars tend to go for these days. So he's going for that Frozen Mallet. He managed to solo zone out 3 members of the Rift lineup just because of the severe lack of damage that they were presenting as a threat. Once Dandychap was down, they don't really have any damage to compete with the Choke Gaming lineup, and then obviously you saw the reaction by the rest of Choke to come up and clean things up. So Choke further extending this game, you could even say asphyxiating Rift from the Rift.
Or you could say choking them from the Rift.
Yeah, but that's too obvious.
Okay, that's too obvious. Anyway, second dragon is up. Maxwell has got vision on it, doesn't have that Void Rush available, so won't be able to get straight back onto that dragon if Rift decides to go for it. But they've going to just back away, farm up their jungle a little bit. And at the moment, it's all in Choke's hands. They have a stranglehold in this game. Frozen Heart already finished on Chewed Up. He's 2-0-4 on that Urgot. Very, very strong. Not even one completed item on the Cogmore, whereas there are 2 already on Chewed Up.
Yeah, and he's gone for that Brutalizer as well, so he's probably likely going to be going towards that Yone. He's not going to go for that Black Cleaver, despite the fact that we thought he might. He may even just leave that Brutalizer as it is, but yeah, Choke are going to want to get onto this Dragon. They're going to start to tighten their grip on this game and really try to suck the life away from the Risk Gaming lineup.
Dandychap doing what he can, trying to get a vision on this Dragon. He doesn't know there's a ward in the bush. He spots it out there with the sweeper. So they will throw that one out. Rafa and Dandychap, along with Nizar, trying to get a bit of control over this river, but the Scupper Crab, of course, already having been taken by Choke, means that Maximor and Zodiac can quite safely advance towards this bottom side of the map. And
this is the benefit here for the Choke gaming lineup when you've got a Rek'Sai on the map and you have those tunnels in positions where you can react very easily to something like Dragon. With Division, it basically allows you to, but it looks like teleport's coming in. I think Rift has something to say about this.
Yeah, Maxwell goes in, but he's going to get locked up by the Bunny. That's the final spot. Keys will get taken out. Zodiac is low as well. Here comes in the light with the Hemoplague, and they're going to go on to Chewed Up. If they can take him down, they take out a huge amount of damage. Will the Hemoplague be enough? They will get him down. Nizar picks up actually Dandychap picking up that kill, and it's a 1-for-3 trade in favor of Rift. The reason that fight went the way it did was Numlock wasn't there. He didn't have his TP and he was running down from top lane, but he wasn't there in time.
Yeah, and a lot of it was also Maxwell's positioning because he was so far in the front of the team. He got taken down immediately by the burst coming out from Rift. And then they didn't have anything else really to follow it up. Chewed Up was out of position. Alchemist was on the outskirts. And like you said, Numlock was there, absolutely nowhere near being in Mega Gnar form. And I think really to win these team fights, you need Numlock in that Mega Gnar to be able to control things with that Gnar ultimate and obviously provide a whole host of AoE CC. You saw Alchemist managing to snipe someone out, but not enough AoE damage went down there. And it took too long for them to get through the Keys Lulu ultimate. So again, yeah, just a really nice play by Rift. And despite being this far behind, they still have life in them yet. And you know, the further this goes, the better it is for Rift because they have, again, like we've said, a ridiculously scaling late game composition.
I think one thing that Rift will take out of that I feel they didn't quite do as well as they could have done is getting those kills on the Cogmore. He's still 0-4.
Yep.
He's building towards that Blade of the Ruined King, but he's still miles away from it. Only got the Vampiric Scepter along with that recurve bow, so he still has to finish the build toward a Cutlass, and he has to pay the combined cost. He's probably about 1,800 gold away from finishing that one up completely.
Yeah, but
if he picked up a couple of kills, that would have been a lot better for him.
But Vladimir has picked up his starting of his Will of Ancients. Also, he's got that finished off, and the starting of his Zonya's Hourglass. So he's in a position now where he can start to do a little bit more damage. Oh, here we go. Rafa is the target.
Yeah, he's getting chased out by Chewed Up. Look at the damage coming down from those Acid Hunters. The slow with the Terra Capacitors. Oh, there's the Hyperkinetic resisting reverse end. Rafa is a dead man. Thresh gets taken down there. Maxwell picking up the kill. And look at this. Chewed Up can just continually chase. If you have that shield up and you're landing Acid Hunters, you slow your target. It means it's almost impossible for them to get away. He's got a fully stacked Neuro Mana now. That is a very, very beefy Urgot.
Yeah, 23 minutes into the game. Frozen Heart, fully stacked Neuro Mana. Obviously, you get the increased resistances on your Hyperkinetic position reversal as well. He's almost like a frontline tank, which is the way that Urgot used to be played practically all of the time because he just does the damage, he's hard to kill, and has a very, very good mid to late game as an AD caster, which is something that's quite unusual. In the top lane, however, he's getting caught out, has to flash away. Numlock's still going for it.
Yeah, there is a final spark actually picking out Nizar in the middle of this fight. He's not being there meant there was no wild growth, there was no protection from Rafa with that shield from the Lantern either. And Dandychap had tried to position himself across towards the side to get an engage on, but Numlock has teleport and Keys does not. I don't think Rift should be trying to make fights at the moment.
The thing about the Rift gaming lineup here is that this happens. If Lulu is pressured in a split push scenario, their team fight is weakened tenfold because they need that Lulu ultimate to get through the burst of DX Alchemist. Once DX has used his burst, he's not as potent as a lot of other mid laners. And Numlock is in a position where he can just very easily 1v1 and split push this top laner and force Keys to deal with him, or they lose turrets. If Keys has to deal with him, that means they lose Keys from the team fight, which is just poor for Rift. They need Keys in the team fight.
Look at that damage onto Dandychap as well. No magic resist on him apart from those Mercury treads, so he's going to take a huge amount from that Lux, along with the Urgot who shreds through the armor with that Brutalizer. Very difficult for them to hold back on these sieges. You talked about the AoE damage coming down from Lux. This is where it pays dividends.
Yeah, definitely so. And they're trying to siege onto this tower here. Keys getting taken very low, has the wild growth on himself.
Yeah, he's going to get taken out with the final spark there. Nizar doesn't pick up the kill onto the Urgot, but it looks like Imbolite is all by himself trying to chase away this Choke Gaming lineup. Rift will hold the tower for now, but with 9,000 gold, the lead for Choke Gaming, you have to think it's only a matter of time before Rift get pushed off and lose the first game here on Summer's bit.
Chewed Up has just unfortunately disconnected from the game, so we'll just be waiting. Maybe a pause coming out here as we wait for him to get back in. Yeah, I mean, that's the difference with the Rift Gaming lineup. When they have the Lulu, the burst goes on to her, and then she uses her ultimate, and then again, you've kind of lost some gas from the tank from the Choke Gaming guys, because then they just get followed up by the better, I guess, sustained damage coming out from the Rift Gaming lineup. So this is the choice they've got to make. Choke Gaming say, do we just want to allow Numlock to split push in that top lane? We know that Rift can't deal with him, so Keys has a hard time against Numlocked in a split push scenario. And now he's picked up that Black Cleaver, he's going to be doing even more damage.
Yeah, he's built for split push.
Yeah, he's
Frozen
built,
Mallet, Black Cleaver on a Gnar with that Hyper as well. There's no way you're escaping him, there's no way you're fighting him. No one is big enough on the Rift lineup to take him out 1v1.
And look, Numlocked is just warding up to allow him to split push effectively here, trying to cover all angles as he's going, and he's going to try and catch Keys out here. Keys doesn't have flash. This is good for Numlocked. But
this is the boomerang, but he gets the slow with the Frozen Mallet, and look at the damage from the Wallop and that Hyper. He's going to go in, jumps onto Keys, and Keys does have wild growth. Numlock actually going to be forced back because there's a nice hook across the wall, but he's going to go Mega. What can Rafa and Keys do here? Not much. The Gnar into the wall is enough damage. No wild growth from Keys, and Numlock picks up the first kill of this fray, and here comes Dandy Chap. Zodiac flashing in with the Spell Shackles, pots the Spell Shield down onto Numlock as well, which means he didn't get knocked up by the Assault and Battery. Zodiac is though, and he's going to go down. He pops the McCulls on himself, not quite enough. Numlock getting chased. The Living Artillery gets a double kill for Dandy Chap, and he's going to keep trying to chase onto Maxlaw here, who is a little bit out of position. He gets caught by the hook. They're going to try and get Imbolite in the fray as well with the lantern. Maxlaw is going to get caught out with the Hemoplay. The hook isn't going to land though, and I think Maxlaw is safe. Alchemist are trying to flank from the side here because meanwhile, Urgot is pushing out the bot lane. You've got to be kidding me as he takes down this inner tower. It's good and pressure
bad
by Choke.
Yeah, good and bad for Choke here. They lose 2, but they do pick up a turret, so better for the global gold situation. They do lose top lane turret in return, but you've got to remember that is the first turret of the game for Rift here. Wow. So they've got a massive gold difference to be able to claw back from these global objectives. 15 seconds till Dragon. Urgot is on the right side of the map. This is good for Choke Gaming. They can potentially secure this third Dragon fairly easily. They've got to wait for the rest of their lineup to get there though.
The third Dragon is so strong these days. The extra movement speed you get off it, especially with a team like Chokes, where Chewed Up is going to be trying to chase as much as possible. Max is going to be trying to position himself well, but at the moment he's a little bit caught out. Chewed Up and lands that tower capacity is going to slow down Danchep. Look at the range on that Acid Hunter, it's absolutely massive, and Alchemist coming in from the side as well means that Rift will have to back away. Choke trying to get as much vision control across this river as they can. Pick out a couple of wards. Keys gets caught out. He does have the wild growth still available. There's the final spot. Wild growth, but Zodiac gets the kill. There's so much damage going down. Nizar is in an awful position in the middle of 4. He's going to get taken out as well. And Choke look like they're putting a stranglehold on this one as they push back Rift 2 for none there. They're going to get the Dragon. Are they going to get the game?
Well, I mean, it's a bit early, but they are definitely in a position to win it from here. 10k gold at 27 minutes in their favor. The kills speak for themselves. And that's the kind of fight that Choke want to pull off time and time again. They want to be able to catch out Keys so the wild growth is not on the table. Then they want to be able to then return, try and get the hyperkinetic position reversal on a key target, knowing that if they've taken out a key target and the wild growth from Keys, that there's so little that the Rift lineup can do in retaliation. When it's not working is when they're not managing to kill Keys, or they're managing to overcommit to taking that wild growth and giving Rift the time to react. But the beautiful chain of taking out Keys and then using hyperkinetic position reverser, chain with the CC, that's how they want to play these fights.
It's really strong. You negate that extra little bit of crowd control coming out from the Rift lineup. They're going to try and chase off the Chewed Up here, who needs to be a little bit careful. Does get the slow onto Rapper, but the Void Ooze comes out. Here comes Dandy Chat with the flash. Going to try and pop that hyperkinetic position reverse, but he gets cancelled by the Assault and Battery, and Chewed Up will get spat out here by the Rift lineup. Kill going across towards the Rapper, perhaps not the best target, but they'll take a kill where they can. Alchemist accidentally disconnecting there. Hopefully they'll be back in just a second. But Rift, perhaps this is the start of something new for them. Can they get back into this game? Well, it's a big task, but Rift are up to it.
I mean, you've got to look at the Cogmo items. They're starting to stack up at this point in time. He's got 600 gold, so he's about another 600 away from finishing that Trinity Force. And that's a big, big item spike there. Kog'Maw probably just going to go either for Last Whisper after that, given how much armor he's probably going to be facing up against, or maybe even go for what some Kog'Maws try to do is go crazy attack speed and go Phantom Dancer. But I'll be more likely to see a Bloodthirster or a Last Whisper coming out as the next item. So once Kog'Maw gets to a 3-item build, he's going to start becoming an absolute monster in these team fights.
Definitely.
Actually, I like the way that Numlock's build because he's gone more damage, more assassin-y, more ability to solo kill the Kog'Maw when needed. And I think that's the position that he wants to be in. Not in a split push position right now. There's only one inner turret left up for Rift, and that's got a massive wave pushing the other way, so safe at the moment. But Choke right now are in the position where they're kind of wondering what to do because they can't force team fights very easily because of the way that the Rift guys work. They need to catch someone, force that wild growth. They don't want to get caught out by a full 5v5 team fight, which they may actually lose given how close Nizar is to finishing that Trinity Force.
I think the thing about that is, yes, he's going to have those 2 completed items, which is great on Kog'Maw. And as we've said time and time again, Kog'Maw scales so well into the late game if you can get him to those 3-4 item thresholds. But look at Chewed Up. He's got a Frozen Heart, a Last Whisper, a Mura Mana, a Bloodthirster, a Brutalizer, a Hex Drinker, and Merc Treads. Like, he is so far ahead in gold. It's 50 CS and 3 kills ahead of his lane opponent.
He's leaps and bounds ahead right now. It's a big ask for Rift to pull this one back, but the only issue is Vladimir is a little bit, I guess, behind DX at this point in time. He's an entire item behind DX, so right now there's a bit of a gap for them to claw back. Alchemist has got so much flat damage on himself that he can just burst someone like Keys with that ultimate still on hand. And that's what they need to keep doing. We saw in that last fight how well it went when Alchemist managed to one-bomb Keys even with the wild growth. That's what they need to keep doing. And it's going to get harder and harder as the game progresses for that to happen. But if Alchemist can keep on top and keep getting catches like that, then Choke Gaming are going to win fights left, right, and center.
One thing also that we see coming out from Choke is the prioritization of removing vision from the enemy team. They've got 3 upgraded Oracle's lenses already. There's only 1 on the side of Rift. Rift going for those upgraded warding totems, so they're going for the extra vision for themselves rather than trying to deny the enemy vision with those Oracle's lenses.
Yeah, exactly. So they kind of cancel each other out in that respect. It really depends on how many wards they can get down, but you can see right now that the Rift Gaming vision is pretty poor, especially in the areas that they need to be covering. That blue side jungle should be lit up, really, because they need to see what...
no vision. They can just about see Numlock.
Yeah, so they really need a little bit more vision in there. They're actually going to try and trade this mid lane turret for the pressure going down. Numlock in the top lane forces the flash from Keys.
He does, he forces the flash. Meanwhile, the rest of Choke are going for this Baron. They'll get a mid lane tower on the side of Rift, but you're going to lose a Baron, Rift. This is such a big advantage for Choke. We talked about denying vision, and Choke have shown us why it pays off.
Yeah, they're going to try and catch out Numlock here, but like they said, they can't see anything in this blue side jungle, so Numlock could have tried to exit in numerous ways. Should get away fairly easily. Dandy Chap is going to admit defeat. That is the problem when you don't have the vision in the jungle. You can't really effectively see where the person you're chasing is. And this is a little bit of a lesson. Maybe they're going to get a little bit more vision down those, so it'll be a bit more helpful when trying to deal with Numlock.
It is a dangerous moment here for Rift. Now, with these Baroned up minions, it means the split push is even stronger from Numlock. For Choke Gaming, they can do a 1-3-1 split if they want, perhaps putting Alchemist into his own lane or Maxlaw because he's got that Void Rush to get into the fight. Numlock will be by himself. He can take out anyone on the enemy team. There's still not enough resistances on that Lulu. She's not tanky enough. She's even Vi with a Warmog's Frozen Heart won't be able to stand up to Numlock.
Really good siege from the Choke Gaming lineup as well. And Dandy Chap
called out. Hyperkinetic position reversal is there. Final Spark actually locks him out of it. Dandy Chap's going to try and get the fight down. Zodiac is going very low. He sponsors the castle himself. Nizar is still on full HP in the back line though, and here comes the damage from Chewed Up. Can they fight it? Nizar trying to kite back, but I don't think it will be enough. They do pick up the kill actually onto Chewed Up. A killing spree for Imbolite, who's going to keep chasing onto Maxlaw. Will make him back away. That's 1 Baron buff down on Chewed Up, which is a big advantage here for Rift in a 1-for-1 trade. They will take that, but meanwhile Numlock's going for the tower. Keys does absolutely nothing to Numlock, who's pounding away on that inhibitor turret, and here comes Numlock with the Mega Knight. Can he jump in? He decides against it because Nizar is coming in from the side, but are they going to be able to lock down Numlock? I don't think they'll be able to do it quite yet. He will back away by himself, and Choke Gaming, even with this man down, will keep trying to put this cushion in the top lane. Zodiac is very low. He needs to be careful. This
is what I talked about in the Gnar versus... Oh, he's going to get taken down very quickly. Yeah, but this is what I was talking about in the Gnar versus Lulu matchup. It comes a point where there is no way that Keys can solo split against Numlock on the Gnar, and especially the way that Numlock is built, he's in a position where he's almost impossible to deal with. Dragon up, immediate reaction there. Oh wow, lots of damage onto Keys. Immediate reaction there from Maxwell. He's going to go straight for that Dragon.
That little tunnel is so well positioned there by Maxwell. It means that he can get in, take the Dragon, and then if the rest of Rift are coming down from the top side of the map, he can use that tunnel to escape into his own red side jump.
Yeah, and because there's no ward coverage from Rift, and they haven't even had the positional advantage to go ahead and try and deal with it, there's no way that they can stop this Dragon going down. There's no way they can clear that tunnel, and like you said, he is just going to escape fairly easily through that tunnel there. So 4th Dragon of the game, Baron in favor of Choke, looking very, very grim for Rift at the moment.
Some people will say Choke didn't get a huge amount out of that Baron, but they got 2 inhibitor towers, which are so important.
Who would say that that's not a huge amount? That's crazy.
It seemed like they were losing the fights, is what I was saying. Like they Chewed Up went down in exchange for a Dandy Chap, which is a good trade for Rift. And then Numlock went down without killing anyone himself. But they got the 2 towers, and it opens up this Rift base for them. They'll be able to push themselves in. Nizar actually being given the blue buff here. So that shows they just want to keep him protected in that backline, want to keep him spamming out those auto attacks as much as he can. But he's going to struggle against the Thorn Mail that's been picked up on Numlock. And then the Frozen Heart as well coming out from that Urgot. Yeah,
I mean, Frozen Heart is really, really good against a Kog'Maw. And if you hyperkinetic reverser Kog'Maw into your team, he's immediately going to feel the effects of that Frozen Heart. So good pickup, and obviously it's pretty solid pickup for Urgot in general. The cooldown reduction, the armor, and the mana, all beneficial for him, especially with that Mura mana. It's what you used to see the old Rises tend to go. They used to go Frozen Heart because it was so beneficial towards damage because of the mana. But yeah, so far so good for Choke Gaming, and they're on the brink of being able to win this game out. They're still going to allow Numlock to split push. Now, I think that is potentially a correct decision, but at this point in time, it's a little bit easier for Keys to get to a fight if it happens, because there's such a small amount of distance that he actually has to cover.
Numlock does have his teleport available though, so he would be able to teleport into the fray if he needed to. Choke Gaming getting pushed back from this top lane inhibitor ever so slightly. Dandy Chap, of course, does have that ultimate up, but Zodiac with the spell shield will be able to counteract a lot of that. Keys is taking a lot of damage from Numlock. That wallop, the hyper damage.
Oh, they're going for it though.
They're going to go in. There is the back onto Chewed Up. He's going to get taken quite low, but there's the final spark. He's going to hit Nizar, which is the best target. Dandy Chap will go down, and Chewed Up picks up the kill. Maxwell there. Keys gets put out by the binding. Nizar actually picks up Zodiac, and there's hyper connect. This is reverser. The wild goes on to Nizar. Isn't going to be enough. Impolite going low as well. He pops the Zonius. Chewed Up will go down, but meanwhile, Numlock is doing everything he can to try and get the space of Rift down. Alchemist will keep cutting away. The Sanguine Pool popped, and Numlock will take down an inhibitor by himself. He's going to try and rotate up and take down the top inhibitor as well, because Impolite has gone down. They're going to chase onto Rapid. There's no damage really here from the side of Rift. Keys does nothing. The hook actually might have saved Keys' life there. And Alchemist and Numlock will pick up 2 inhibitors here. Great play there by Choke.
That was a 4 versus 5 from Choke Gaming. The only time that Numlock actually contributed to that fight was when he walked in and picked up the kill right at the end onto the Thresh. So
Chaos
that was, I mean, right now that's just, it spells disaster for the Rift Gaming lineup. If they can't 5v4 and win with the Lulu, then they are in a very dire position indeed. And you're seeing it right now. Choke, they didn't even ask Numlock to react. They just said, take the inhibitor. Even if we lose, we get an inhibitor. But they didn't lose. They won the fight essentially. They got 2 inhibitors. That's probably the best result they could have hoped for in that situation. Now all they need to deal with is that mid lane inhibitor turret, and they've basically got the egg half cracked open to win this game.
I think if they get the mid lane inhibitor tower, they've basically poached that egg. They've served it on an Eggs Benedict, and they are ready to eat up that scrumdiddlyumptious dessert. Breakfast. But Eggs Benedict is not a dessert,
It's not a dessert indeed, so I don't know what you eat for dessert.
Eggs,
apparently. Eggs Benedict, apparently.
Delicious eggs. Anyway, Choke Gaming, yes, they will be trying to push down that mid lane. They'll try and get the tower, and if they do that, all they have to do is wait for super minions, because Keys isn't going to be able to clear out this wave easily by himself. It'll take him a long time to take down supers. Kog'Maw needs to be in the middle of the fight, because otherwise they're going to lose out without any damage on the rest of the Rift team. And Choke starting to push down this mid lane. There's super minions in the other 2 lanes, and Baron up in 30 seconds. So even if Choke don't get this, they can wait for that vision control. They've denied all vision of Rift outside of their own base, and they can just pick up that Baron, perhaps even with just 2 or 3 members.
They can just wait for the supers at this point in time. I mean, they really don't even need to worry about trying to split, trying to do anything fancy. You just wait for those lanes to push in. As soon as someone goes to deal with those lanes, you try and commit everything you can to that mid lane inhibitor turret. And like I said, they don't need to put Numlock in a split push position anymore, because there's nothing for him to split push anymore. So they just keep him in that mid lane doing his best job, and right now is the position where they want to strike on that mid lane.
Hey guys, I'm going to split push the Nexus. That would be all that Numlock could do at this moment. Look at the damage onto that tower. It's going to go down ever so quickly. Nico gets caught out by a body. Dandy's going to try and go into Maxwell, but the final spot's going to hit over 3 members. Rapid is going to go solo. The wild growth on him, that's not the target you want. Chewed Up picks up 1. Here comes Zodiac. Soul Shackles in. There's a double kill for Chew. They're going to go into Keys, the wallop, the body, the damage, the death, the triple, the quadra, and Chewed Up cleans up the fight. Dandy Chap, the last man standing. He won't give up the penta. Scumbag Dandy is going to retreat to his base, but the Nexus is going to go down here. Choke Gaming look like they're going to take game 1 here of this best of 3.
Choke Gaming are filling up the analysts' predictions here by taking the first game. They have.
You're saying that because you were an analyst. It's like, oh guys, I did really well. I analysed it really well, guys.
But it was a really great game by Choke. They had a fantastic team composition to deal with.
Oh, they're going for it. Dandy's going to give.
They really want to give him the penta.
Can they get Dandy? Chewed Up goes down. It's a double. It's a triple. Dandy with the turnaround. No. Choke Gaming take the win, and they will be the victors in this first game of the best of 3.
Yeah, and I think this can all be spelt out through the difference in jungling pressure in that early to mid game. Maxlaw wiped the floor with Dandy Chap, unfortunately. He's on one of his best champions. I would imagine Rek'Sai probably not going to be going over to Maxlaw this time round, but we'll be handing it over very soon, I believe, to... No, we're not. We're going to go to the second game.